hope you got your shitting pants on.
Because you are about to shit your pants.
All right, everybody, welcome to The Big Picture. I am Michael Sargent. What's up, people? There's a lot of things that I can talk about this week, but due to this little half-an-hour time frame thingy here, we'll kind of touch on the more important topics, okay? Last week I mentioned something about outside editing services, and there are some that are very legit, and I also touched on Clipping Path, okay, who relentless emails offering their services, and I don't know if it's coming from one person or multiple entities. I'm sure, being a foreign company, they're based out of India. So I'll tell you what I personally think is going on here, okay? And maybe I'm wrong, but usually I'm not. That's just how things are. I would suspect that Clipping Path has scoured the web. Somebody had to put in countless hours to find photographers all across the United States. And they have collected a huge database, and I'll tell you exactly how they did it. They will find these photographers' websites, and I would assume it's probably through demographic, searches. And what they've done is they've taken the email address off the contact information off of all photographers' websites, and they've created a huge database, and they just relentlessly email photographers to offer them their services. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I hate that. I mean, I really hate that. That pisses me off. And I can't tell you, brother, just how frustrating it is for me as a photographer who likes to do his own editing, receives these constant emails from Clipping Path. Okay? Hey, good for you. You're in business. You're doing what you have to do to market, but it's intrusive and considered spam when, I've never even been to the Clipping Path website. I don't even know if they have a website. But I can tell you this much. I'm so infuriated over the fact that I'm constantly getting these emails, and you're probably going to ask why. Well, first off, maybe I'm an odd duck. I just don't like to be bothered. Okay? I don't like to be bothered by a bunch of stupid shit, and that's exactly what this was. So really, Clipping Path, if I really wanted to hear from you, I would have contacted you regarding your services. That's not the case. So I kind of feel that my time is wasted having to, see this email, click the email, and delete the email. And honestly, if I wanted to hear from someone from Clipping Path, well, Samuel, you want to tell them what we would do?
Hey, if we want to hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet. You hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, that's right, brother. I'm just tired of that. And, Clipping Path's got a few things to, get through their head here, because I'll tell you exactly what I've done. I copied their database. See, all the emails that are associated with the email that I received, I copied them all. And I basically sent all these other photographers an email, okay, and copied Clipping Path in on it. So I could basically say, people, did you guys subscribe to Clipping Path? Their emails? Have you done business with them? Or is this just a big spam type problem that's going on here, with this company? First off, Clipping Path, you guys are losers. You piss me right off. And to whoever is actually working the social media or marketing department of Clipping Path, well, it's a dirty little trick that you've pulled here. And I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm going on a rant here, but you're a bastard.
Now you see that standout? Now that is a dirty little bastard.
So what happened here is, I hate to do all the drops, but I've literally been thrown into the pit of misery because this is relentless.
The pit of misery. So
I guess where I'm going here with this is Clipping Path. You're not very you've got a bad look. I'm not going to do any business, and what's funny is some of the other photographers that I emailed in a group batch email all have said the same thing. They have never inquired about Clipping Path. They have not used their services, and most of the photographers that I actually speak with, they're not very happy about receiving these emails from Clipping Path. Bunch of bitches.
Bitch.
So, at the end of the day, I'll figure something out, block their server or do something like that, just so I don't have to read this anymore. And I know this is my problem, but as a photographer, I'm reaching out to other photographers and just wanting to find out, have you ever had anybody relentlessly pursue your business the way a company like Clipping Path has? Bunch of jackasses.
Jackass!
It makes me quite upset, and at the end of the day, I guess what I'm really getting at here is if you're being bombed by outside companies, what do you do? What do you do to combat it? Because, they could offer their service for free, and at this point, I've grown so annoyed with them that I wouldn't use them for nothing. I don't care what the price is. The price is going to be wrong.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Yeah, so, listen, we're going to take just a quick break here, and I'll drop something in here to entertain you while I'm taking my break, which I really don't need to have, but, I've got to get prepared for the next segment and read a couple of emails to you. So they're always kind of fun. Yeah, actually, I need a cup of coffee real bad, so I'll be right back. Coffee. Yeah, coffee fixes everything.
Holy Jesus.
We'll be right back.
My mama said, but Mike, don't you want to be comfortable? I said, no, I don't want to be comfortable. I want to be scared out of my head and lost out of my mind. I want to fall in and out of love of you 1,000 times. I want to spend all of my money on my friends and I want to ride around on a horse and give people hugs. And when I come into town, they'll say, oh, there's Mike. There's something wrong with that boy. I swear he just ain't right. 'Cause I won't waste another day living someone else's way. I want to be happy. I want to be free. Forget what they say. I'm doing me.
That's right, people. I'm just being me. Okay? I'm actually kind of punishing you all, making you listen to this.
I will punish all of you!
All right, so let me get serious here for a moment. Okay, I want to talk to you about some of the portrait photography and some of the setups, because I get asked a lot about how I do my sports/interest photography. And let me lay it out to you this way. This was kind of a inspired shot in a sense that I wanted to really create some drama with all this. And when I first started this whole thing, it was basically, front-facing strobe lights, a little bit of forward light just to bring out some drama in the image. And, I know you can't really see that on the podcast. That's why, I would tell everybody, go to my website, www.msergeantphoto.com, and you can look right through the portfolio that's right at the top of the, the web page, and you can see some of the sports or interest photographs that I do. And to define this, the sports interest category, okay, a lot of people would say sports interest, you're a sports photographer? No, it's not that I'm a sports photographer, although I could be. I like to take, the subject and the sport that they're into and combine them and create, a very dramatic sports portrait. All right. So, and sometimes that involves motion and several other things. Recently, I've kind of incorporated some light flares with particular strobe lights that add to the effects. As in, say, Natalie's photos. We did the images very dramatic and utilized, controlled light situations to really create something special for her. And basically what it comes down to is athletes they're wired differently. I get asked this all the time. Somebody had commented on the photo, it looked like the subject was, had enough of the photo shoot, and it was like furthest thing from the truth. All right. Athletes always portray a different look on their face. They have an instinct in, they're competitive. They like to win. And sometimes that serious look on an athlete's face, can be kind of portrayed as something else. That's not always the case. It's just that people have different looks about them, and the more you get to know them, the more you know what those looks are. And that's always kind of funny. But where I come in to play with all this is we take the subject and we coach them to portray a certain look. And it's the same thing with headshots. I do headshots as well. And basically what it is we give them, the proper motivation to portray a particular look. When I say proper motivation, it's a coaching session. We get them to a point where they're portraying a look.
You people have not given the proper motivation.
And the thing with that is, I see there's a lot of other photographers out there now that kind of copy that whole thing that I'm doing, and why wouldn't they? I mean, it's really cool, especially when you get the look. But sometimes when I see that, I just look at it and say, well now. It looks somewhat similar to mine, but it's not, mine original. Not saying that it's bad, but I have to look at it and ask myself sometimes, what is that?
What is that?
And it gets me to a point where I'm really ticked off about it. And, I look at it and say, wow, this person, it's okay. I mean, it's cool, but I still have to look at the imagery and say, wow, this just blows me away. With the colorful metaphor, inserted in there, it's just basically, I question what the hell is this? What the fuck are people thinking?
What the fuck is that?
So, it gets me, they always say, imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery, and I guess I can't disagree with that. It's just that sometimes I wish people would be more original. Other photographers would be more original and put their own style into imagery instead of trying to copy someone else's work. I mean, it's a bad look, especially when a photographer is very well known and he has a specific look to his imagery. Okay, to this point in time, I'm, not super well known. Locally, I'm pretty well known, and I think that reach is starting to grow based on, some of the imagery I do, and then people see that imagery, and word of mouth gets out. So it's pretty cool. But, it's like I said, when people start traveling state lines to see you, and I've said this several times, but I'm pretty proud of the fact, people are traveling state lines to have me, do their imageries. So, in a sense, I almost feel like, all right, locally there's this place called Paula's Donuts, and they really make, good donuts. It's not like a Tim Hortons donut or a Dunkin' Donuts donut. I mean, these things are really good, which, I have forgotten what they taste like because it's been so long since I've had a donut because, trying to suck weight off and not be such a fat boy, it makes things, well, let's put it this way. I have no regrets with what I'm doing. What I am happy about is I kind of feel like I'm the jelly donut right now of photography when it comes to sports interests, because the people that are coming to me, they're traveling state lines to have me do these images. So guess what, people? Now I'm a jelly donut.
A jelly donut!
So, it's pretty cool. I am like the jelly donut of sports interest photography.
Trim him. Toe jam. Pop that blister. A jelly donut?
Yeah, that's right. I said a jelly donut. So anyway, I'm happy that, people are coming in and seeing what I'm doing and actually traveling state lines. Thank you, you people.
You people!
So anyway, we have a lot going on here, but, to tell you the setup, it's basically like the setup changes. There's times where, I'll use forward-facing lights with a front light. Times I'll use a key light and a side light, to create some dramatic. I've even played with some gels now. And speaking of gels, I mentioned this on my last podcast. And people, they've got to understand this. If you're going to use, a gel on a dramatic portrait, sports portrait, make sure that you're using a black background, because the reds really show up well in the shadows. It kind of transforms things. Using them on a white, it's not such a good look. It kind of creates a pink hue on a white backdrop, and it's not a good thing. So, trial and error. Trial and error will basically dictate this. But if you're going to use gels, especially like a red gel, you definitely want a dark background. Works much better on the shadows. Okay. So anyway, those are the magic rays of sunshine that I talk about with the strobe lighting and being able to control your light, bend the light, shape the light around your subject. So yeah, they are in a sense my magic rays of sunshine.
Mama say that happiness is from magic rays of sunshine that come down when you're feeling blue.
Anyway, all right, we're going to take another break here, and we will, get into some other topics, and I will read you a few emails. Some of them good. Well, they're all good, but and just to let everybody know, the Big Picture podcast, with me, Michael Sargent, is going to be distributed to other venues and not just exclusively on All Western New York News. There's a plan in place here, and the plan is basically to put this program out to anybody who may listen to it. And, we can associate an email address with the program, and if people have questions about photography, they can email them in, and we will answer them on the show as we can. Okay? We'll be right back. I got a little something for you here that should be proved to be somewhat funny, somewhat interesting, and it gives you a little bit of an education, okay? So here's the deal. I wanted to go over some things that it's basically like the worst things in the world that you can say to a photographer, okay? So people, pay attention to this and just know that if you ask these questions, your photographer more than likely wants to punch you in the face as soon as you ask it. So these are the worst things to say to a photographer. Can you make me look skinny? Can you send me the raw files? Can I see your camera screen? My new iPhone is better than your big camera. Come to my wedding. I can't afford a photographer. Your lens is not big enough. You ask too much money. All you do is click a button. Oh. Can you make it warmer, but with more blue? Why is it all blurry in the background? Tripods are forbidden here. I hate having my photo taken. Can I have all the reject photos too? You don't even have to edit them. That's fine. What do you do the rest of the week? I only need one photo. Will it be cheaper? Would you edit my selfie I shot with my phone? Sony or Canon? What should I buy? You don't have a degree, so you're not really professional. Shoot for free. I'll promote your work. Really? Your camera makes every photos easier to take. So those are just a few that, you know, people got to kind of understand. If you ask photographers these questions, they're going to want to punch you right in the face. It's that simple. It's a truth, and a lot of people listening would probably think, do those questions really take place? And I hate to tell you this, but they do. All right. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to close out the show.
My dreams are all dead and buried. Sometimes I wish the sun would just explode. When God comes and calls me to his kingdom, I'll take all your sons of bitches when I go. Let her blow.
Let me drive that.
All right, something to announce here. The Big Picture podcast that's heard on all Western New York news and radio has some. It's kind of exciting. Some pretty exciting news here. What's happened is we're being distributed across several platforms now to put the podcast out there. I mean, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM. There's about 7 different venues that have picked this program up, and pending is Apple Podcasts and a few others. So, for anybody who doesn't know me, I want to just throw it out there and let everybody know kind of who I am. All right. My name is Mike Sargent, and I am a photographer. I specialize in sports and interest portraits along with professional headshots. I started my photography back in 1984. In 1987 was kind of my heyday. I had a pretty big assignment that was given to me. I had to step out of photography for several years as, I got married and had kids, and back in the day, photography really didn't pay the bills. So, but based on the education I received in photography, a lot of the same principles, and this is kind of an interesting fact for people, what you learned back in the early days of film photography in relationship to exposures and film speeds and apertures, f-stops, so much of it applied in the digital world where I came back and started to really hone my skill. I'm a very busy guy. I do a lot of commercial editing for companies. I also work in logistics. When I'm not doing that, I am actively photographing quite often. I have a lot of clients. I have a lot of people that, most recently, and I'm kind of humbled by this, people are now kind of traveling state lines to have me do the sports photographs for them. So it's all pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with what I've been able to do, considering, there's never really been any, I guess the best way to put it is, being a photographer in this day and age can be a very difficult thing. And largely in part because everybody out there who owns a camera is a photographer now. I don't necessarily like that. I'm kind of old school when it comes to doing my photography. I like to shoot at certain times of the day. I'm a big golden light for portraits guy, or natural light. But that's not to say that I don't use flashes. I do use flashes. I do use filters. I do use gels. So all in all, I'm pretty well rounded with what I do in photography. So anyway, a little bit of, inside information here. I am, sometimes I'm a little outrageous. Sometimes I can be a stubborn jackass, which everybody who knows me personally knows that's how I am. But I'm doing this podcast basically to have a little fun here, for myself. There's lots of things we can talk about, and those people that listen to me locally on All Western New York Radio, they're quite familiar with my annex and some of the things that I do with my podcast. So, anyway, once again, my name is Mike Sargent, and I look forward to bringing you a, if nothing else, interesting program at least. Okay, we're out.
Like the turn of the whip, I snap attack, front to back, in this thing called rap. Singing like a shovel, rhyme double on a heavenly level. Bang the bass, turn up the treble. Radical mind, day and night, all the time. 714, wise, divine, maniac, brainiac, winning the game. I'm the lyrical Jesse James. Quality I possess, some say I'm fresh, where my voice goes through the mesh of the microphone that I am holding. Copywritten lyrics so they can't be stolen if they are not. Don't need the police to try to say them, your voice will sing. So please, stay off my back, or I will attack, and you don't want that.